John Tesh with today's Intelligence for Your Life Minute.
If you gotta get up,
If I gotta get up, I gotta get up.
do it with us.
And go, go, go!
David and Friends, weekdays on WTYM, Katanning.
There's no business like show business.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
Following program is closed captioned for the thinking impaired.
All systems go.
Good morning.
Prepare to be astonished.
Listen in your office, in your car, or even your neighborhood bar. You can listen with your whole family.
Is this the morning show you were dreaming about? Go back to sleep.
I enjoy that type of radio.
It is a group of people brought together because they share a common belief in what government should be like.
We don't need your education. We don't need your thought control.
That's a talent.
He's wacky, he's zany, wacky and zany. It's another wacky and zany show.
Good morning, Armstrong County. I'm David Croyle. Welcome to David and Friends. I'm the David, you're the friend. So glad to have you with us on the ride today. 67 degrees on the outside, going up to a high maybe of 75, but a few thunder bumpers in the forecast. We'll talk to the National Weather Service a little bit later in the program and find out a little bit more about your day. But for right now, I want to talk to someone who's a veteran of TV and film, spanning 60 years in the show business. He started his career at age 6 as a tap dancer. Yeah. He's made appearances back in the day of Howdy Doody. Some of you remember that. How about Art Linkletter or Jungle Jim or Sky King or Annie Oakley? All of those. He was there. That's right. And he's lived to tell about it. You probably know him mostly because of Pawn Stars in this area, because he makes regular appearances on Pawn Stars. And his real name, Ken Kastle, but we call him Doc Phineas, and he is on the line with me today. So good morning, Doc.
Well, good morning. I think you're supposed to say, "What's up, Doc?" Yeah, right.
Well, I don't know if they have that.
Everybody.
I don't know if they have that trademark, so I thought I better behave myself.
They probably do.
I got to talk to you a second about this because everybody who knows you, and you are quite a flamboyant person. And so you do this SteamPunk thing. And I was down at the Ford City Library yesterday, and they have what their teens have decorated as a SteamPunk room. And prior to knowing you, I didn't know what SteamPunk really was.
Oh,
but
there you go.
As I looked at the room, I thought, man, this Doc Phineas would fit right in here.
I would. I actually started probably the first SteamPunk room anywhere across the United States. We started the SteamPunk Imaginarium, and that was here in Las Vegas. And I basically started it in downtown Las Vegas as a way for young people who were making things in the steampunk genre. And for those of you out there who probably maybe don't know what steampunk is, but it is, we consider ourselves to be the time period of Queen Victoria. So she took her reign in 1837, and she left this world like in 1900, 1901. And then we also extend it to 1914 through the reign of her son, who was Edward VII. And we considered ourselves to be time travelers. We come from Jules Verne, 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, Around the World in 80 Days. It's the Victorian idea of science fiction. So that's basically who we are. And so we prize Victorian clothing, but kind of with a twist. We'll have like guns that come from outer space because we're time travelers. We've been in every period of time, but we still look like people from like 1850, 1880.
You live in this kind of Jules Verne-ish type of world, though. You have done imaginary stuff for a long time. Whenever I looked at your bio online, and I just thought, here's a guy that from the time you were a kid, and I'm talking a real young kid. I mean, you've done championships, you've done sets on Montgomery Ward's and their catalogs and J.C. Penney. You've done this commercial modeling. You've been just everywhere, and yet you are by every ranks a historian.
Yes, that's true. You know, I juggled two careers, maybe a little bit schizophrenically, but when I was a little boy, my mother said, well, I gave birth to him, so I knew I was giving birth to a tap dancer, right? So she gave me tap lessons, music lessons, piano lessons, voice lessons. And, man, by the time I was 6 years old, I was ready to go. So I was already in Hollywood. She took me to meet Uncle Walt and made several appearances on Walt Disney Wonderful World of Color, Mickey Mouse Club. And I was a mean tap dancer. Like at 6 years old, you know, I was the regular on Pinky Lee, kind of like the mini Pinky Lee. So that was a big show we had in the 1950s. Hello, hee. My name is Pinky Lee.
Yeah. Well, some will still remember that, so that's okay. Not a problem with that either. Look, I gotta talk to you though about Pawn Stars, because everybody in Armstrong County that has checked out antiques look at Pawn Stars, and everybody has something. We have a gentleman in Ford City, the Mantini family, and they had the fact that they had people here checking out their stuff because they had so much of antiques and things that they had in storage. And I don't have very many antiques because I'm not really into that per se. But because I'm in communication, I've been in communication for years, for all my life, and because I'm in media, I do collect a few things. And one of the things I collected was I looked for a Kellogg telephone. Now, Kellogg was the original manufacturer, and people will remember the wall phones where they had to crank it up and ring it and that type of thing. Well, that started in the late 1800s, and I have looked for a particular wall phone like that, found one at an auction, and I know the value of them are somewhere around $15,000, and because I know other people who have had them and bought them and sold them. But I found this one, and it was totally intact. The insides were all still there, and so I bid on it, got it for $60, brought it home. It is in immaculate condition. It still works. I hooked it up to our phone system, and the phone system actually processed the calls, and it actually worked, and it was just amazing. So I have that. So, that's the kind of stuff I have. But I also have, and I thought this may be interesting to you because I just didn't know how much it was worth at all. But I have and I'm going to put it on the screen for people to see it. It's those of you that are watching on YouTube or you're watching on Family Life TV or our internet feed, this is a cylinder player. And it dates back to 1908 by the Edison Company, and still has the original number on it, the original serial number. It is in immaculate condition. I have many cylinders to go with it that I bought separately over the years. And
how many cylinders do you have?
Probably 30 to 50, somewhere in that neighborhood.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
Because you just said bingo, the magic word right there.
Really?
The cylinders are almost worth more than the player.
Really?
Yeah, they're very hard to find if they're in good condition and it plays all those cylinders.
And it does.
You could get anywhere. I'm going to say I have put them on Pawn Stars between $3,000. I mean, upwards from $3,000 if they've got the cylinders that go with them.
So
otherwise, you can get them on eBay for about $1,000.
When you say you can get them, are you talking about the cylinders or the whole unit?
The whole unit.
The whole unit.
The whole unit sells like there's. I just got one the other day that we're going to use in the Imaginarium, and it was like $850. So they're out there, on eBay, and the various other internet sources. But if you've got them with the cylinders, that's the magic word right there. And you bring that on Pawn Stars, I'm probably going to give you like around, $2,500 to $3,500.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Should I tell you what I paid for it at the auction?
Yes, I'd love to know those things.
Less than $300.
Wow, you stole it.
Yeah.
You stole it. And speaking of stealing, by the way, just so that you know, the steampunk perspective on this, but, we feel that Edison, of course, stole a lot from Tesla. We're pretty much, every steampunk's hero is Nikola Tesla. And Tesla did all the original research on creating that machine. And, our backstory is that Edison stole it just like he stole electricity in the light bulb. He took credit for all these things that the great, brilliant Tesla, who we think maybe he was a hybrid from outer space, the guy knew so many wonderful things, basically the father of electricity, and he died in poverty just because he wanted to provide electricity to the entire world with no payment.
Wow.
And Edison saw a way of providing electricity to the world and charging all of us. So our bills are thank you, Thomas Edison. If Nikola Tesla had been in charge, we would have all had free electricity. He said, I can generate this stuff for free. Why charge for it?
Wow.
So, and unfortunately, he passed away in a hotel room and was put in a pauper's grave.
The ultimate socialist, right?
The ultimate, from Russia.
Wow.
But you will find a little bit of resistance from steampunks, on the idea of Edison, because we so much, we feel like Tesla got looked over, and he probably was the mastermind behind all these wonderful inventions.
Well, when they call you in on the Pawn Stars to look at something, I've watched you, and you tend to pick it up and you tend to hold it, and it isn't that you're just analyzing it, because you're looking at the person. Most of the time, I've observed you. I'm a very keen observer in the media of the staging. In fact, I go into an auditorium and they're doing a play or production of some sort, and I'm not even paying attention to the storyline. I'm watching how the production unfolds, and I'm just horrible. I'm horrible to movie. Went into see Back to the Future, the first one, and as it was going through, in the middle, I almost stood up and yelled, but I did say it loud enough that the people beside me said, "Be quiet," because I saw the edit where Biff is punched, by Michael J. Fox, and the edit was so bad that I saw it and I said that was a horrible edit. And we actually bought the DVD and we actually played it back slow-mo, and you could see the edit was 3 times edited and it was horrible. But that's the kind of thing I am.
I love that.
So when I look at you, I've watched you now. Okay, I've been paying strict attention to you, and you pick it up and then you look at the person, but yet you're talking about the item, and I'm thinking, okay, how?
That's a very astute observation, by the way. And it allows me a segue into something, but I'm getting my own spin-off show. We've done the sizzle reel and the pilot on it, and that show is called Touched. I'm allowed to reveal it to the public. It's in pre-production right now, and what I basically do is I go in people's homes, do the same thing I do on Pawn Stars, but I'm talking really cool houses that we have here in Vegas, in Southern California, and Beverly Hills, and these people with massive personal collections. And I have the psychic gift of psychometry. So when I pick something up, I'm actually getting a psychic reading on it. Like, is it good? Is it bad? Does it have good mojo, bad mojo? And even in many cases where they don't know where that object came from, oh, my grandmother left it to me, right? I can actually fill in the provenance on it.
Really?
And I was tested by the Berkeley Psychic Institute to have a 95% accuracy in psychometry. That is called psychometry, the ability to pick up an object and tell someone the backstory of the object. So that's what's going on. A lot of times, that's the weird thing about me. I am a scientist and an archaeologist of many years, but at the same time, I have these weird psychic abilities, and I'm a sci-fi guy and, an actor. So.
Oh my! And never the two shall meet. You wake up and not quite kind of sure which person you are today, but you are one of them. I know. I play a person on radio that's similar to that. So I got it. Well,
they blend in my life, and at the age of 70, I can say, I'm using every single talent at this point in my life that was ever developed. Today, I'm on a television show live from the Liberace mansion here in Las Vegas, where the great pianist Liberace lived, and I'm going to be playing Liberace's piano. I'm actually a really good concert and jazz pianist,
Really?
And so all of these things that I trained for all my life, suddenly at the age of 70, the acting, I'm in 6 television shows, 3 new movies, and also I'm a jazz musician playing at jazz clubs here in Vegas. And it's just like everything seems to be all at play at once,
So there's hope for us yet, those of us here that are still
Never
trying.
give up. Look at me. If ever you think, oh, my career's going nowhere, I'm always talking to young people that are like 23 saying, that's it, I'm done, I'm out of here. I'm like, dude, look, the best is yet to come.
Wow.
And
you just got us right there. I mean, I'll tell you. Give me a second. Doc Phineas on the line with me this morning, 20 past the hour. David and Friends on the air with you. I'll be right back. We got to finish this, but first let's check regional sports.
The Phillies lost an integral part of their lineup for the rest of the year. Good morning. This is Sports from Radio PA. When Andrew McCutchen left Monday night's game in San Diego, the Phillies believed the injury was a sprained left knee. McCutchen himself didn't think it was anything serious, but Tuesday's MRI confirmed the worst as McCutchen tore his left ACL and is out for the season. The former National League MVP started 59 of 60 games for Philadelphia this year and was hitting .256 with 10 home runs, 29 RBIs, and an NL best 43 walks. That hurts the Phils, who'd been scuffling even with McCutchen. Here's manager Gabe Kapler.
This is a resilient group. We've gotten knocked down before. This is something that every club goes through. Every club goes through tough times. They go through tough stretches. They have injury concerns. Nobody's gonna feel sorry for us. We just have to come back fighting.
Elsewhere, the Pirates scored 4 runs in the bottom of the first inning and led going into the 7th inning before the Braves' bats erupted late. Atlanta rolled to a 12-5 win with 10 unanswered runs that included a pair of 3-run homers by Josh Donaldson and Austin Riley. Stephen Brault pitched a solid game, but the Bucs bullpen blew that effort. The trio of Kyle Crick, Jeff Hartlieb, and Rookie Davis combined to allow 9 runs on 7 hits over the final 3 innings. On Tuesday, the Professional Football Writers of America honored Eagle Chris Long. The recently retired Long was given the Good Guy Award for the 2nd straight season. Over his career, Long won 2 Super Bowl titles and the Walter Payton NFL Man of the Year Award. And the third and final leg of the Triple Crown set for Saturday in Elmont, New York. 10 horses will run in the Belmont Stakes, including Preakness winner War of Will, who's the only horse to run in all 3 big races. The morning line favorite is Tacitus at 9-5 odds. And that's sports. I'm Andrew Scaglione.
Let's check the weather with David Croyle right now on Radio for Your Neighborhood, AM 1380 and FM 103.7, WTYM, Katanning, Fort City.
This look at the weather brought to you by Smokey's Barbecue, where you can get cooking and catering services for your event this summer. Whether it's a wedding, picnic, graduation party, whatever, they have an extensive menu choice. Check them out, Smokey's Barbecue. 412-549-0744. It's 67 degrees right now in downtown Katanning, going up to a high of 75, but not without some thunder bumpers coming in this afternoon. And then on Thursday, we have some overcast skies, but a high of 78. Friday, it looks like some sunshine, and that's a high of 80. Once again, this look at the weather brought to you by Smokey's Barbecue.
Everything you need to get your day started.
Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. This is America's Dream Team.
David and Friends, weekdays on WTYM, Katanning.
My guest today has started his career 70 years ago. Yeah, it went from the time he came out of his mother's womb. They started to groom him because they knew he was a special person. Doc Phineas is on the line with me this morning. We're talking about his life, about what he's doing right now, and he's right now in production. So let's talk a little bit about that. You said you're basically going to leave here and you have production duties.
Yes, I do. Wow, can you imagine? Right now, I'm on Facebook Live speaking to you guys, and I'm wearing a shirt that's made of an octopus in silk, right? A black bow tie, one of my fans sent me, that looks like a Ouija board, and a black and white hat. Now I'm going to Death Valley, where I'm going to be riding a donkey in the middle of nowhere, really scruffy, and I'm playing an old gold miner from the 1860s crossing the desert out in Death Valley in a new movie with a legendary film director. And it's already here in the city close to 90, so it's probably going to be like about 110 out there. I'm still out there doing my own stunts and all these movies. I have a new movie out called Duds that just won Best Comedic Short at the Tokyo Film Festival, where I'm playing a character like Charlie Chaplin. So I'm getting really great roles. It's amazing. Like, you think, wow, your career's over at 30. Well, believe me, when you get to be 70, there's so many parts you can play. I play that eccentric, crazy grandpa, or, some kind of crazy, eccentric guy, and I love those roles.
Wow. Were you on the original Gunsmoke as well?
I was, yeah.
That's
that was pretty funny, but it's a pretty drop dead knockout piano player. Even by the time I was 15, I was playing with jazz groups, and so I was in Dodge City, Kansas, making an appearance at the Long Branch Saloon, and they actually rebuilt all of Dodge City where they could film from there. And Amanda Blake, who was Miss Kitty, heard me play piano, and she went crazy over me, and she said, "I'm bringing you on. I'm introducing you to James Arnaz." So I got to meet all the characters, and that's me. They put a fake mustache on me, and I'm out there playing piano in a lot of episodes of Gunsmoke. It says, "Don't shoot the piano player. He's doing the best he can."
Wow. Wow. And you were real good friends with Tony Curtis as well.
Tony Curtis was my best friend, yeah. Tony and I did 3 movies together. We met at a party in Hollywood, and we're just inseparable. I had dinner with him at least once a week, and we made his last movie together, which was called Brittle Glory. He brought me in originally to be kind of like his best friend. He ends up in a mental institution. So I play the role of his best friend, Demetrius, in this mental institution. And then their costume designer flaked on them, and he goes, "Doc, you're the only person I can turn to, but we need 144 costumes, including my costume as a superhero." And I knocked them all out. So I was costume designer and also acted in the movie. And we were...
But those were the days, though, when you could do all that stuff. They didn't, today they have to, with all the unions and all the things that go on, this person has to do this person has to do this. But in fact, they're getting ready to make a Mindhunters movie thing for Netflix here this summer in Katanning, which Katanning has been used for Mothman Prophecies with Richard Gere. It's been used a lot of times for different movies. And so these people come for these sets, but they have to have their location and then their assistant location manager and this person, that person. But back then you could do a lot of stuff. So you had such a wide variety of things that all your talents could be used.
That's true. I have a 60-year perspective on the film industry because, I started back, when I was 6 years old, and I actually got directed by Alfred Hitchcock in one movie, and I knew all
that's it. Now I know. That's why when people say you're weird, now we know. If you were with Hitchcock, man, you got to be a little warped somewhere.
But it was amazing. Everybody was accessible. Everybody was cool back then. And I hung out with, like, Betty Davis. I knew Barbara Stanwyck. As a little guy, I would take their hands, and I would tell my mom and dad, "Well, I was with Barbara Stanwyck today," and everybody would look at me like, "What is this kid talking about?" But on the studio backlots, you would get to meet a lot of people. They were all accessible. I'd go to a dinner party with Tony Curtis, Jackie Collins, Joan Collins, Milton Berle, Skip Lowe. We're all sitting at Spago's together, and with Milton Berle talking, saying terrible, terrible things. But, it was just, Hollywood was like that. It was kind of like a big family. Now it's much, much more corporate, much, much more, as you say, compartmentalized. I actually had 2 directors and an agent call me this morning and tell me what I could talk about on this radio program and what I cannot talk about.
Oh, my. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. It's just, and the bigger that this kind of stuff gets, the harder it is to be real and to have fun, and it's like, and you and I think, have very similar tastes and feelings on this as it goes on. Look, I'm to the end of the show, and you have just been wonderful. Thank you so much, and for all that you do there, and all your whole life. Do it at least to your 100, and then please invite me to your 100th birthday party. Please.
Hey, listen, it's going to be a wild one. I'll guarantee it. I'm still out there on the Las Vegas Strip performing, in a show called Alice, in SteamPunk Alice in Wonderland, and I'm out there tap dancing at 70, and the 20-year-olds can't keep up with me.
Oh, you're the man.
So thank you for that wish. That's beautiful. And to all of you people out there in Pennsylvania who watch Pawn Stars, who see me at Mysteries at the Museum, Jay Leno's Garage, thank you for watching. I love you guys.
Mr. Doc Phineas with us this morning right here on David and Friends. Thank you so much for being my friend. We'll talk to you tomorrow. Have a great day.